Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker, Lois Kofi. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Well, all right. And happy Friday, everyone in Facebook land. If you're watching this on the recording, YouTube and iTunes, this is Coach Lois Kofi. Super excited and fired up to have you guys here as a part of my live broadcast of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. I'm your host, sales trainer / podcaster. Super excited to have Mary Jenkins with us today, and I will introduce her shortly. If you guys are looking to give this December, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, 'tis the season. It's going to be a different kind of message today. I've had health experts, wealth experts, people of coaching and wisdom, and today is going to be a different kind of wisdom. And if you're feeling like you're the giving spirit, I have an amazing guest today who has an amazing, timely message for this season. Cancer can't stop Christmas. So Mary, I'm so excited to have you here today. And I want to also remind people, if you're tuning in live, go ahead and comment below, #live. And that's part of the benefit of being a part of this Facebook community. You can comment below and say where you're tuning in from and network with like-minded people. And you can also ask questions later of our amazing guests. So I met Mary, actually, she was a referral from one of my past guests. So grateful for Frank introducing us and just a little bit about your story. And then I want to have you take it away. Mary, you're a 2-time breast cancer survivor. You had active treatment and you turned your pain into your purpose, which I love that story. And you founded the COC, an organization that provides emotional support and financial assistance to active treatment cancer patients. You're also a mother of 3 sons and you were a widow by the age of 25. So you've had a lot of life experience, Mary. I'd love for you to share with our audience today a little bit more about your story.
Oh, well, thank you. And I am so happy to be here. And hello, everyone. When I hear you read and share my story, I'm like, man, I really have been through a lot. But I am thankful to have been through a lot and still be here. I mean, when it comes down to it, I'm thankful for that. And so, yes, I was actually a widow at the age of 19. Jude, he was in the Army. And we had been married for 2 months and 29 days. And he unfortunately had a heart attack at the age of 23. And so I have been a widow all these years. And that was traumatizing to say the least, because we were newly married. And then I ended up moving to his city, which was Savannah, Georgia. And I moved there, to really start a whole new life and, be near his family in case his family wanted to, spend time with my son and, go from there. And so that was an experience. I got to go to college. I went to Savannah State University, which is now, well, it was Savannah State College. It's now Savannah State University. I went there and, was enjoying life, doing all the things that you think that you're big and bad enough to do, when I think about it. But then, I moved to Columbus, Ohio in 1995, and not knowing what I was going to do, I ended up in a homeless shelter. And so I had a homeless shelter experience, and it was like, oh my God. Then I had a house built, and then the house got foreclosed on because of taxes not being escrowed. So much has happened, but I had no idea there was still more to come, and that it was going to lead me to my purpose. And so in 2006 is when I got diagnosed with cancer. And I got diagnosed with stage 3, almost stage 4 invasive ductal carcinoma. So it was triple negative. And people are like, how did you find it? And I said, my youngest son and I were wrestling, because I'm super mom. And we were wrestling, and he accidentally elbowed me in the chest. And when he did, it hurt. And I mean, it hurt to the point where I was like, I'm ready to cuss. I'm about to cuss. And, I've been in ministry for 30 years. So my son was like, oh my God, mom's about to cuss. They know I don't sound right. I try to. But a couple of days passed, and I went to the emergency, and the ER doctor was like, I think I feel something, but I'm not sure. And, you should get a mammogram. And I was like, a mammogram? I'm only 38 years old. What you mean? It's not time for me to get a mammogram. I've got 2 more years before, because they say get a mammogram at age 40. And so I went in to have a mammogram done. And when they did it, the process just took longer than I thought it should, which
Mm.
now you have that feeling, you're like, I had that moment. And
Mm.
so the result was, hey, Miss Jenkins, we do see something on your film, or on your scan, and we'd like to do an ultrasound to measure it, and then we'd like to do a biopsy to see. And when they did the biopsy, it came back, and they're like, it's definitely cancer. We just don't know what grade. And so I was like,
Mm.
wow, okay. So then I had to kick in, my faith kicked in, and I was like, okay, the sickness is not unto death, you know, okay. By his stripes I'm healed. Okay. But the reality of it, I didn't know. And it was it was trying for me because I'm single parent. And it was like, I've got my sons, and now here I am battling high grade cancer, and I get emotional. Um,
Mm.
my doctors told me that I'd be lucky if I survived 5 years. And, so that was a thing. So like, okay, I'm working. So I'm working, single parenting. I've been told I'm battling cancer, and I'd be lucky if I survive 5 years. And oh my God, what am I going to do?
Mm.
And so I started chemo. Um, and, when I started chemotherapy, I was taking adriamycin and Cytoxin. So if any of your listeners have ever battled before, breast cancer specifically, they know that's one of the high grade ones, or two of the high grade ones. So I was doing chemo, and I was getting sick like all the time. Every time I turned around, I was throwing up. I mean, weak, didn't want to get out of bed, but I still had to go to work because I had bills to pay. There wasn't anybody that was paying the bills for me. And so one day I got to work and I really wasn't feeling well. I went into the bathroom, threw up all over the place, and I got so weak that I couldn't walk. So I laid down on the floor. And my employer came in and found me curled up on the floor. They were like, you know what, Mary, we think we need to help you out. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to let you go so you can focus on your recovery. And I was
Mm.
like, that is so good. Thank you. I'm not going to have to get up and come to work early in the morning. I'm be able
Mm.
to rest. I'll be able to, try to, gain strength, and, thank you. However, it did not dawn on me until it was time to pay the bills. Because
Mm.
when they let me go, I got fired. And in being fired, I still have to pay. And it was like, oh my God. And so I had went through my little savings, I did that. And it was like, I still have to pay bills. And so I wrote out to the
Mm.
Susan G. Komen Foundation. And I was like, because they breasts, they the breast people, race for the cure, pink ribbons everywhere. And so
Yep.
I figured I'll contact them and get help. I got breast cancer, they the breast people, breast plus breasts equal help for breasts. So I thought, well, when I learned that they don't use their money to help people. Well, they use their money to fund research and make certain people can get mammograms and give out awareness information, which are all great things. But what I needed was help with the rent and the electric and the gas and the water and the car note
Mm.
and the car insurance and the cable bill and
Mm.
buying food. Those things that weren't stopping just because I had been diagnosed. And they didn't offer support there. And so they
Mm.
recommended I contact the American Cancer Society. So I reached out to them and found out that they don't do it either. And I was like, gotta be kidding me.
Mm.
People think that these are the places that people battling cancer can turn to get the help that they need. There's
Right.
some help, but this time this gap wasn't being addressed. And
Mm.
so I went and I tried to apply for public assistance and got turned down because I hadn't been unemployed long enough. And so, for me, I was like, me and got to talk, and we have to talk. I'm going to go to the church and I want to talk in the sanctuary. So I contacted the attendant and asked if I could, spend some time in the sanctuary, and they said yes. And so I was having a heated conversation, because I was like, God, I'm trusting you. And I don't understand how now I'm about to lose everything because I can't find anybody to help me pay the bills. It doesn't make any sense. And fortunately, the church leadership overheard me, and they offered to provide support. And so they actually offered to pay my bills for the rest of the time that I was in treatment,
Wow.
which that was you talk about a blessing. Whew. I was like, okay, great. And then I thought about it. I was like, that's great for me. But what about all the other people that are battling cancer that need help? What about
Yeah.
them? Other breast cancer patients that don't have anyone. Somebody's got to do something to make people aware of where the money is going and isn't going. And so, Pastor was like, well, Mary, you know, why not? You're right. Someone needs to. And I was like, right. Someone, not me. And then it dawned on me that he was saying me. And it was like, oh my God. So, okay, you want me to be the one. Unexpected. And so I started telling my story everywhere. And people were like, I had no idea. I don't want to give to those organizations. Can I give it to you? And I was like, sure, you can give it to me. I'll find somebody to give it to. My church paying my bills. So I'll just find someone to give money to. And that's what I started doing 15 years ago. And so for the last 15 years, I have been literally raising money to give to people that are battling cancer, just so that they have the comfort of knowing that they're not going to be evicted, or the lights aren't going to get cut off, or the car's not going to get repossessed. And so we've been doing that. And when I started the organization, it was just breast cancer, because that's what I knew. Well, when we were 4 months old, I got a referral of a woman that had cervical cancer. And I told her we couldn't help her because she had the wrong type of cancer, which that is right. But I did, because at the time we were only breast cancer. And it was like, what's the right type of cancer? And she was like, understand, no, I'm the one that can fix this. And so I reached out to my board, explained that I never wanted to tell someone they had the wrong type of cancer ever again in life. And they were like, are you sure? And I said, yes. So we changed our mission to include all cancers. And then people started from all over Ohio. And then they started coming from across the country. And then they started coming internationally. And I was like, oh my God. So by the time we were a year old, we had gotten our first application for assistance from Canada. So yeah, it was like, oh my God, we are official. We're international. Oh. And so it's been a tremendous journey. We're not grant funded. We actually are funded based off of donations of people that hear and understand who we are, what it is that we're doing. Because we're not out there. I'm not driving a Mercedes Benz, living in the big house, making $500,000 a year, $250,000 a year. I'm not. But what I am doing is spending all of the time that I'm able to being a voice and an advocate for someone that's in the toughest battle of their life, just so that they don't have to worry so much. I mean, if I can just ease their stress a little bit, I've done my job. And so that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years. And you mentioned that Frank brought us together. Frank has watched the organization. He said, I've got to put you in touch with every person that I can, because we've got to get the message out. People are out there, and I've said, there's somebody out there listening somewhere that wants to give a $50,000 donation, $100,000 donation, $1 million donation, because people are doing that for cancer research. So why to help the man that's battling cancer, or the woman that's battling cancer, or even to help the parents that have a baby that's battling cancer, because kids get diagnosed with cancer as well. So yeah,
it impacts people. I was just going to say, I didn't want to interrupt you. It was so good. I'm so grateful that you shared all of that, because I did a lot of fundraising for cancer for a decade, and I was so upset and disappointed in finding out a lot of the statistics and things that you shared. So I'm so grateful that you're able to share. You're being here, turning your pain into your purpose, I truly believe is one of the things that kept you running, right? Kept your heart ticking, kept you alive, because if you were supposed to be gone by 2011, it sounds like, according to the doctors.
Yeah. 5 years. And so what we did, actually at 5 years, we had an I Made It party. And so my I made it party was either I made it and or I made it and I transitioned and I went on and I'm in with the Lord, so, up in heaven. And so we were like, I made it party. And that was just and it was like, all things have to make it to the I made it party, whatever that's going to look like. And that, of course, I went through and then, I got diagnosed with cancer a second time in 2015. And then, tell it all. In between the first battle and the second battle, I had reconstruction surgery that failed, and it put me in a nursing home for 6 months where I was for my life. So yeah, I mean, when I say me and cancer have gone toe to toe, and I'm like, I am still here, and I am still going to share the message because there's people out there that need the help, and I will be that voice until I don't have a voice. I will be the one to share the information and ask people. People are like, she has no problem asking for donations. No, I don't. I have no problem whatsoever. And people are like, well, how are you so comfortable? And I'm like, because it's not about me. It's about that person that's facing eviction. The person that's lights are getting ready to get cut off. Is the person your car is going to get repossessed or whatever. Just whatever. It's about them and their battle with cancer. And so my job is what we call like the care center. It's the word CARE, which is an acronym for creating amazing recovery experiences. And that's what we want to be through the COC. We want to be that, the ones that help people in the toughest battle of their life.
That's amazing. So amazing. I mean, your story in and of itself is just so timely also because there's so many people, whether it's been COVID impacting their finances, whether it be, job loss because of COVID, maybe not their health, but their career. I know I've lost a couple friends to cancer this year. It's there's not anyone I don't know that hasn't been touched by loss, grief, financial situations. And so it's really important for you guys to hear this inspirational story, because how do you keep moving forward when your health, your wealth, and wisdom or sanity is feeling compromised, right? Is just listen to this woman's story over and over again. I want to acknowledge we have some people watching. Mary Elizabeth from she's sent her sympathy from earlier on, and she's tuning in from the Southern California desert, and she just shared with us that she currently has a family member who is fighting cancer. And unfortunately, I don't know who this is because that doesn't give me your name. It's why they like to donate locally instead of to big organizations, because then you know where they are going. So knowing that the holidays are coming up, we're in the holidays. I mean, it's happening. No matter what you celebrate, there's a lot of even people already in, off mode, and people that are struggling. And I know you have this amazing program and the opportunity to donate for Cancer Can't Stop Christmas. So can you tell us more about that? And I'm also going to put the donation link on the screen as well.
So I get emotional when I talk about it. So I am a Jewish baby myself. So I was born on December 25th, and growing up, I never really celebrated my birthday just because it was a holiday. But when I got diagnosed with cancer and going through all that, and then finding out that kids get cancer, and then thinking about how their families struggled financially, and I saw a lot of places that were doing Christmas parties, and they would invite the community to give an unwrapped new present, the feel goods, and I saw the kids going to the kids were thankful that they were getting something, but they weren't exactly crazy happy that they were getting, what they wished for, because, their families were struggling. So they, chances are they weren't getting the Wii system, or the iPod or just whatever. And so I was like, man, cancer can't stop Christmas. It just can't. And so the heartbeat behind Cancer Can't Stop Christmas is to make the wishes come true. And so, the very first year that we did it, it was so amazing because it was a family. We had like 100 kids, and there were kids that didn't think they were going to get what they wished for. So we send an application out to families that have a child that's 17 and under, and say, what do your kids wish they could get for Christmas if cancer wasn't an issue? And we make sure that it's age appropriate and stuff like that. And we create a spreadsheet that has the names of the kids on one side and then their wishes going across. And we raise money for the purpose of getting the kids these wishes. And we're like, okay, and there's nothing that, I mean, they can wish for anything as long as it's age appropriate. Because we did it one year. We had a 3-year-old that asked for a 52-inch plasma flat screen TV and a Nintendo system.
Hey,
Right.
Trying, right?
All right. And so, of course, we called to verify, and the mom was like, yeah, that's what he wants. And I was like, okay, can I talk to him? And he got on the phone. He's like, hi. And I'm like, do you know what plasma is? Mommy said that's what I need to ask for. Okay. So we ended up getting a age appropriate TV with a small leapfrog learning system, so you could have the Nintendo's feel, kind of, sort of. But it was educational, so we did that. And so we've been doing this now. This is like our 14th year of raising money just to be able to provide wishes for the kids. Because I'm crazy enough to believe that when the kids go to the other parties, they're thankful, yes. And then on Christmas morning, there's a strong chance that they're not going to get what they wished for because the family's struggling financially as a result of, dealing with cancer. And not all families are, but there are more that aren't. And so I'm crazy enough to believe that when they wake up on Christmas morning and, they don't get the presents, that they feel some kind of way. And so then here come my group says cancer can't stop Christmas. And then we get to provide them with the wishes. And, I always tell the story. And I don't know if they're listening, there's a Bish family. And I always tell them, cancer can't stop Christmas, and that there will always be frozen Dippin' Dots. And I say that because their son, Sam, battled cancer. He had osteosarcoma, and they ended up amputating one of his legs. And all he wanted for Christmas was a frozen Dippin' Dots machine. They were sold out in Columbus, Ohio. They were sold out in Ohio. Every place we checked, they didn't have it on Amazon. Every place was sold out. And that's all he said he wanted. I was like, daggone it. We got to get it. And so on Christmas Eve, I went on Amazon and they had one, and we got it. And then we provided it to him. And the smile that he had on his face was priceless. And, unfortunately, Sam has passed away. There will always be Dipping Dots. And his parents now celebrate his life and his legacy because they created a foundation called the Sam Bish Foundation that provides awareness, emotional support, and financial assistance to the families of children that have battled pediatric cancers. And so that's a blessing in itself. And I'm like, so when it comes down to Christmas, being able to get the kids what it is that they really, really wish for, it means a lot. It just does.
I love it. I love that you're serving all ages, all walks of life, all forms of cancer. So guys, just as a reminder, if you're just tuning in, because I know we've had a couple new people join us, please hit the share button. And you'll also notice I do have the banner going across. If you're here live, comment below with your questions. Even if you come in later, Mary is a part of this community. So if you're inside Facebook and you want to find Mary, she's inside the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise platform. So you can comment below. Obviously, I dropped the link in both the show notes and down below in the comments, so you guys can donate and know that the money is really going to an amazing cause. I mean, I've had times where we didn't have cancer. We just didn't have money to do anything for our kids for Christmas. So I know that sometimes I really am more about giving and teaching my kids to do that too. So if you're out there listening, maybe instead of giving presents, maybe you can give someone else presents through Mary to these people who are really struggling during this holiday season. I love it. I love it. What else can you share with us today? We've got a few more minutes here. Anything that you've learned about resilience or about the cancer community, or anything that you can impart wisdom to our community today that you haven't already covered?
I will say this, and this is something that I love to share with others, and it's dealing with resiliency. It's important to share your story. And the reason is because there's somebody out there that is waiting to hear it. You may not even know the person, but just in sharing your story and being vulnerable with what happened to you. Because like when I talk about cancer and I express that I don't have any breasts, people are like, "Oh my goodness, you sound so confident, even though you don't have any." And I said, because I had to learn whether or not I have one breast, two breasts, no breasts don't make me who I am,
Mm,
and sharing the story. And so for all of the listeners, I encourage you to share your story, whatever it is, because there's somebody out there that is waiting
mm.
to hear it. And the words that you speak literally will impact their life.
I love that. I am so grateful for you to bring that up because I think, you've heard the phrase, make your mess your message. You turned your pain and lots of it, I might add. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, you are a saint. You are an amazing inspiration. And I know you have a book also. So I want to get to that in a second. But guys, watch this again and share this with, they don't even have to have cancer. I mean, a lot of people are struggling for sales, especially around this time of year. And I think it all comes down to the greatest story ever told is your story, your story, to be able to be open and transparent so that whoever is supposed to hear it will be inspired, and you just might save or change a life as a result of not keeping it all to yourself. Right.
Correct. Correct. And you mentioning the book. So I authored the book. It's called Destined to Overcome. And I even have it.
Do you have a copy there?
Oh, there it
Destined
is.
to Overcome.
Yeah, Destined to Overcome. So I wrote this book while I was battling, well, the spirit of the book was while I was battling cancer. While I was going through, I just really heavily relied on my faith and on scripture. And so then a few years ago, a friend of mine was battling cancer, and he was unsure of, the level in which he was going to be able to make it, because it was metastatic. And so I told him I would search scripture and I would give him something, and I'd give a message with every scripture, and that it would be for him because he's destined to overcome. And so I created this book, and it's a daily declaration to win at life. So each day there's a different scripture, it's a different conversation, and then a call to action. So it's not like it's not meant to be a religious book, but it's meant to be a tool just to help people on this journey. And so just to give you an example, like today is the 10th. And so on day 10, see, the topic is believe. And so the scripture is, Jesus said unto him, if thou can believe, all things are possible to him that believes. And so when we're going through life, when we get to where we overcome is when we believe. And so there's a whole conversation about it. Believe. And then the call to action is, what are you believing? To write out, what are you believing? And every day it's a different one. And so this book, it is available on Amazon. It's $15. And if you actually, one of the things that I do share, if someone wants a signed copy, message me and I'll get them a signed copy. So that way they can have that as well. Like I said, if you order it from me directly, and I give you all that information if that's what it is that you want. So, but yeah.
Okay, cool. And I'll make sure to drop that information in the show notes, Mary. So if you can maybe let me know how you best want them to contact you. Since we're almost out of time here, I'll put that in the show notes. So it's going to always be there for posterity. But I love that you have a call to action, because a lot of people have what I call inspiration constipation, right? They like to read these motivational quotes, but then the action isn't there. So to have that built in helps you overcome, I think, much bigger, much faster. So thank you. I've got one more question for you, but so don't go anywhere yet. I just wanted to make a couple really quick announcements. Next week, we have Sarah Elkins. She's going to be on here, and we're going to actually be talking about, something more about your strengths. We're going to be talking about strengths and how to really find and connect with others as well as yourself, especially through the holiday season. I think it's a great time to be talking about relationships and how that can be impacted also through your business as well as personal. And then, so that's next Friday. Next Thursday, I have an online networking event. If anybody would like to meet and expand your network globally, it's next Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific. I'm also going to be doing a 15-minute TED Talk about the 12-week year, how to get more done in 12 weeks than most do in 12 months. A nice kind of tee up for 2022, because we got less than really 3 weeks left in this year, guys. Less than 3 weeks left in this year. And I know a lot of people are planning what they want to create. What do they want to get out and create in 2022? So if you're interested, I'm going to put that link in the comment section below, as well as in the show notes. So I'm super excited to have you guys check that out as well. So if you guys saw value today, as we wind it down, please, again, hit the share button with people that you care about. And then, as most people know who've tuned in every week, I always close asking my guests the same question. And I'm super excited to hear your answer, Mary, because you've lived a lot of life. You've experienced so much wisdom. And so when you hear the phrase healthy and wealthy and wise, Mary, what does it mean for you?
Yeah, it means everything, because how can we really make an impact in this life if we are not healthy? And then if we are not wealthy, and that doesn't necessarily mean money, but it can be our passion, our family relationships and everything. And then wise, having learned lessons, because I am a firm believer that every experience we have, there is a lesson and there is a blessing in it. And so healthy, wealthy mean everything to me.
I love that. And sharing that wisdom, right? You said share a story. You could impact someone today. So I'm just going to share your link one more time, guys. If you want to donate, and this is a great season of giving, and if you're thinking, gosh, who can I give money to or make an impact with, go to TheCOCCares.org/donate. And if you want to be a part of this amazing Healthy and Wealthy and Wise community with Mary, myself, and a lot of other amazing guests week after week, please join us. Go to Facebook and look for Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, or go to healthyandwealthyandwise.com. Until next time, guys, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you, Mary, for making an impact today.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, refer a friend, and please drop me a rating or a review. If you do that, I'll reward you with a free 20-minute free coaching session on crafting your journey to your best self. Reach out to me at lois@loiscoffee.com to claim your 20-minute slot. Until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.